this is your instructor, Tori Quizmundo. The purpose of this video is to guide you through a Word project so you can prepare yourself for certification in Microsoft Office Word. Let's get started. In Blackboard, I'll click the Assignments button, and Module 1, that's our Word Certification Study area. Now I'm going to scroll down after I'm done with my Word tips and my Word tasks, and I feel comfortable with both of those, and I decide it's time for me to try my practice files. I'll click into my practice files, and this particular practice file is going to work with the Project 2 promotions. And so you've got the promotions instructions there. I would recommend that you download those instructions, maybe print them out, mark off the tasks as you complete them, and then open your promotions document. I have one already open for me. I have my show hide already on so I can look at my formatting if I'd like. Let's go ahead and get started with task 1. Task 1 says, after the end of the second paragraph, convert the tab delimited text to a 3-column table. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to find my tab delimited text. And I can tell you it's right here. You see those little arrows? We've discussed this, that if you're looking at your show hide button and you've got those arrows listed there, that's a tab. So I'll go ahead and select this text. Let me continue to look at my task. After the end of the second paragraph, convert the tab delimited text to a 3-column table and accept default autofit. Okay. Well, if I were going to insert a table, I'd go to the Insert tab and say Insert in Table. However, I cannot insert a table over top of text. So I need to select the down arrow here and say that I'd like to convert this text to a table. It's asking me to have 3 columns and accept the autofit for width, and so I can go ahead and say, okay, that task is complete. Then at the end of task 1, it says sort column 3 ascending. Well, if I look now, ascending is A to Z. So I've got the letter E and then D and then E and O. So it is not in alphabetical order, but now it would like for us to place column 3 in alphabetical order or ascending order. If I've clicked off my table and I click back on, right, I'm going to get my table tools at the top. I've got a Design tab and a Layout tab. The Design tab deals with all the pretty stuff. The Layout is the meat of your table. So I'd like to sort column 3 ascending, and here's my ascending. However, I have my whole table selected now. So I'm going to select only the cells that are in column 3. I'm going to come up here to my Sort button, which is in my Table Tools, Layout tab. In my Data Grouping, I'm going to choose the Sort Ascending button, ascending right here. And it asks me, but what do I want to sort by? I don't want to sort by efforts. I want to sort by column 3. I would like of all of column 3 to be sorted ascending. And that's all I have to worry about. And I will say, okay. And now I can take a look at it. It's alphabetical D, E, E, and O. That task is complete. Task number 1 is complete. I have a habit of clicking off of the items that I was clicked onto because typically in the test they will back up 2 tasks and make it impossible to complete the second task unless you've clicked out of your first one. So I am in the habit of clicking off of my last task. However, if I look at task 2 on my set of instructions, it's still dealing with this table. Add a row to the top of the table. Now, I can add a row in 2 different ways. I'm going to select just one row here. If I select the whole table and I say insert a row above, it's going to insert that many rows. And I don't need all of those rows. I only need 1. So I'm only going to select the first row. And I can come up here to my Table Tools, Layout tab, and I'm going to say insert above. Now, if I'm a right clicker, I could also right click and I could choose the insert from the menu, and then I could say insert a row above. Either way will work for this. Both ways are appropriate ways to add your row. It's going to ask us to add the text Give-a-thon. So I'm going to click and type, and I need to type it exactly how it is in the quotation marks. If you do not type it exactly, you will not earn the credit. Okay, so double check yourself always. Then it's going to ask us, merge the cells in the first row of the table. Okay, to merge your cells, you first have to tell it which cells you'd like to merge. So I need to click and select all 3 cells in that top row. If there were 4 cells or 5 cells, however many there were, I need to select all of them. And then on my table tools, my design and layout tabs, I'm going to choose my layout tab, and there's a button in the merge grouping called merge cells. I'll click merge cells and it's going to merge all of those cells into one for me. Now, if it were to say merge and center, which is something more often found in Excel, I would have to merge it first and then come over here and choose center, or go to my Home tab and choose center. However, it did not ask me to center this text. But at the end of this task, it does say something that might seem kind of interesting, which is, remember that not all tables have line borders. So I'd like to address that with just a second for you. If I select this table and I go to my Design tab, I have the option up here of adding borders or removing borders, no borders. And the reason why I'm addressing this with you is because on your test, you might have a table that has no borders. And it might ask you to go to the table and complete a task, and you look at the text and you think, well, there is no table here. But you can identify that this is a table because this is my table selector right here in the top left, and it will allow me to select my whole table. So if on your test you get a question that asks you to do something to a table, and you scroll through the document and you look and you think, well, this appears to be a table, but there's no borders, it's okay, because not all tables have borders. Okay, let's take a look at task 3. It says apply the grid table 1 light accent 1 to the table. So on my table tools, I've got design and layout, and we've already discussed that design is the pretty stuff, so I know I need to be right here. These are all of my options for my grid tables, and it's going to ask me to apply the grid table 1 light accent 1. So I'll select that. Now, I kind of knew where I was going, I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm the one that created these assignments to start off with. However, if you don't know where you're going, you'll have to lay your mouse on top of every single one until you get to the one that you need. Now, I will give you a hint that there are categories. These are grid tables, and you can scroll down and get list tables, and you can, look at the different options that are there, and there's typically a pattern to it. So always use your mouse over screen tip to find what you're looking for. We have completed task 3. Let's take a look at task 4. Resize the table so that each column is 2.2. Now, row number 1 is merged and centered. I cannot resize that to 2.2. Only the rows below it can be resized. So therefore, I will only select what is below it. Had this not have been merged and centered, I could have selected the whole table. Now I still have my table tools up here at the top, and I need to go to my layout tab. In my layout tab, in my cell size grouping, I've got some options here. Here is my height, and here is my width. So a column is going to be width, so I need to adjust my width to 2.2. You can use the up and down arrows. I don't like to mess with them because for me it takes too long. I like to click in there, type 2.2, make sure you hit enter. That will seal it up and adjust it. So now my width is 2.2. That task is complete. Let's look at task 5. Task 5 says to add alt text to the title, Giveathon to the table. So I need to add alt text to this table. To do that, first I may need to make sure my table is selected, okay? There are 2 ways I could do this. On my Table Tools Layout tab, I've got a Properties button on the far left in my table grouping. I can click there and select alt text and type it in. Now, if that's not where I want to go, I can right-click on my table, choose my table properties, and then go to alt text. In this instance, it's going to say add the alt text title of Giveathon to the table. Now, notice, and I did this on purpose, because they will try to trick you up on your test. This one is give a space, capital T-H-O-N. and it does not have the second dash. We'll say OK. Now that task is complete. I'll click off of my table. Let's take a look at task 6. Find the 3 lines starting with technology for teens. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here and look for the 3 lines for technology for teens. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'll select those 3 lines. And ending in improved charities. Assign a picture bullet of a check mark. And in this instance, it's asking you to do a Bing search for a check mark and select any of them. So if I want a bullet of a check mark, I'll need to use a bullet for a picture. Now, I've got these standard bullets, I've got these numbered bullets, or I've got these multitask or multi-level bullets, but in this instance, I need to click the down arrow on the standard bullets, and I need to say define new bullet. Now, I already have other check marks up here because I have used them before. On your test, you will not see those, and probably on your own computer, you won't see those. So the proper way to do this is to select your 3 lines, select the down arrow on your bullets, and say define new bullet. You'll select picture. The Bing search will come up. You can search for check mark and allow that to search. Once it searches, maybe you select any of them. This is the selection of your choice. Select the one you want, say insert and OK. And now you have changed the check marks. So you now have check marks for a bullet list. So we have officially assigned a picture for a bullet of a check mark. So that task is complete. Let's look at task 7. Oh, hold on. At the end of task 6, there's one last item. Align the bullets to the left page margin, but do not change the hanging indent. Okay, my ruler is out and available. However, yours may not be. To make your ruler available, click the View tab, and in the Show grouping, check Ruler. When I check Ruler, it will release my ruler, and when I'm in my document and I'm clicked onto my bullets, I can see that there is a hanging indent. You see the top part of this hourglass, it looks like an hourglass when it's together. It's got a top, a bottom, and a base. I've got a first line indent, I've got a left indent, and I've got a hanging indent. So I have 3 items included in that hourglass, a top, a bottom, and a base. And it tells me on this task number 6, align the bullets with the left page margin. Do not change the hanging indent. The easiest way to do that is to go to your Layout tab. Your indents will be listed right here. I need to select my 3 bullets to make sure that I'm only going to adjust just these 3 lines. I have my left indent at 0.25. I need to change that to 0 and enter. It has now aligned it to the left. However, you can see that my hanging indent did not change at all. Task 6 is complete. Let's take a look at task 7. Insert an online picture searching for technology in the blank line under the title Tech Connect. Well, let's go up to our title. Our title's up here at the top. It says there's a blank line. However, I'm going to encourage you, when you take your test, use the Show Hide button to make sure to find the blank line. If there are 2 blank lines, you would use the one closest to the top. In this instance, there is only 1 blank line. It's going to ask me to insert a picture, an online picture of technology, and it tells me I can choose any technology picture. I'll search for technology, and I'm just going to select the first one that's there and insert that. My picture is now in there. When my picture is selected, if you look at the top, it gives me a Picture Tools tab for formatting. It also gives me a Drawing Tools tab because there's a little shape around here of a square. So that should trigger so that I know I have a picture. You see, now I'm selected on my picture because I only have the picture tools. And that's what I need to make sure I'm working with is my picture only. So I'm going to click on my picture, go to my format under my picture tools, and in this instance, it's going to ask me to change the height of the image to 2. To do that, my size is located in the size grouping on the far right of my format tab, and it's asking me to adjust the height to 2. For me, it's simpler to click in there, type 2, make sure you hit enter, and that will adjust the size of the image to 2. Now, when you pull an online picture, sometimes it will have this box around it, and there's nothing you can do about that. But you have completed the task properly once the height of the image is at 2. If you on your personal files still have that extra box around there, if you want to change that to 2, you can. However, it will try to readjust itself to something else. So in this instance here, I'm going to leave it. It did not ask me to change anything else, so I will leave it as it is. Task number 8. In the file properties, add technology as a category. Well, to get to my properties for my file, I need to go to my File tab. Once that is open, if I look on the right side of the screen, I have my properties there. Now, I do not see a thing there called category. All right, so what we are most commonly tempted to do is click this down arrow and go into advanced properties. However, when you do that, you get a whole lot of extra stuff that you don't even need to worry about. It is there. See, it's right here, category. But a lot of times that will bring you into a rabbit hole that's unnecessary, take up your time. So I'm going to request that on your test, when you go into your properties, if you do not see what you need right here, that you come to the bottom and just simply say, show all properties. That will give you all of the properties that you need without having to dig and go through tabs. Here is the categories, and it's going to ask me to add technology as a category. That task is complete. I'll hit my back arrow, and now let's take a look at task 9. Copy the formatting of the first sentence and the first paragraph to the rest of the paragraph. Now, in this instance, there are 2 ways to do it, and you can do a copy and paste the formatting. However, if you've never used the Format Painter before, it will only take your formatting. Do I need to select this whole sentence? I do not. I can select a piece of the sentence to get the formatting. I can select a piece of the sentence from anywhere. And I know that I need to put that formatting on the rest of this paragraph. The easiest way to do that is to select some of the text that's available with the formatting. Click on your Format Painter in your clipboard grouping just once. Your mouse will then turn to a paintbrush. You can see the paintbrush, and that allows you to paint the format one time. So I'm going to click and drag through the rest of that paragraph, and it will place the formatting on the rest of that paragraph. Task 9 is complete.